Yo. Welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops. You know who it is, man. Do I need to keep saying my name? I'm playing. It's your boy, Nicky P. And I appreciate all y'all rocking with me, man. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at in the world. I hope it's good. So y'all saw the thumbnail. Today, I'm going to be diving into the world of basketball podcasts hosted by current and former NBA players. I know podcasts is a way of the world nowadays. Seems like people are probably or seemingly watching more podcasts than they are regular TV nowadays. So yeah, podcasts is the here and now. And there's a whole bunch of dope basketball podcasts out there for sure, especially with some players, ex and current. And these podcasts are more than just shows. They're platforms where players share real insights, unfiltered stories. It wasn't just the white reporter questioning a black player, and he had to answer with PC answers or not really be able to speak his authentic mind. And that's not the case anymore. And maybe some narratives that were out there about some former players, they're able to get a platform to share their side of things and whatnot. So yeah, they're full of unfiltered stories and behind the scenes glimpses into the game they love, man, from game day to practices to everything. I'll be breaking down the top 5 of these dope podcasts out there, ranked by their unique appeal, their ability to connect with fans, and their host personalities. Let's jump in with some honorable mentions before we get into the top 5 real quick though. So our first honorable mention is the Draymond Green podcast. Draymond, known for his intensity, amongst other things out there on the court, brings that same fire and honesty to his podcast too. He's not afraid to tackle controversial issues, dissect big games, and give listeners his raw take. It's insightful with a no-holds-barred approach, and Green's humor and intensity makes it a compelling listen. And he often gets pretty dope guests on there too. Shout out to Baron Davis. Another honorable mention is Podcast P with Paul George. He's one of the league's top talents, or maybe used to be one of the league's top talents. It's up for debate if he's really playing like it nowadays. His podcast is dope though, and it's unique because he interviews current players and goes deep into the nuances of their careers, struggles, and training routines. Paul's thoughtful, laid-back style brings out a side of his guests that fans don't usually get to see. Now let's get into the top 5 though. Number 5, let's get to it. The 520 podcast with Jeff Teague. That's straight jokes. Coming in at number 5 is the 520 podcast, like I just mentioned, with Jeff Teague. He has an incredible ability to tell stories that make you feel like you're right there in the room with them cats. He's laid back, humorous, and his conversational style makes for a smooth, enjoyable listen. His storytelling is elite, and he does it without trying. He just seems like a funny dude naturally without trying. Jeff's storytelling skills are particularly unique. He brings listeners into the lives of NBA players with hilarious, relatable anecdotes. His episodes often focus on his personal experiences, and it's his ability to be genuine, laugh at himself, and let listeners in on what it's like in the league that makes the podcast a must listen. So go check that out if you haven't already. Number 4, KG Certified with KG and Paul Pierce. Number 4 goes to KG Certified, with the 2 main guests being Kevin Garnett himself and Paul Pierce. Known for their fierce competitiveness in the league, KG and Pierce give listeners an inside look at their careers, rivalries, and changes in today's NBA. And particularly those 2, they speak from a different perspective because KG is one of the greatest power forwards of all time. If you ain't got him in your top 4 or 5, then you just don't know basketball. And side note, I'm probably going to make a top power forward video of all time. Stay tuned. And Paul Pierce in his own right, I know he might not be up there on a lot of people's list for, the top small forwards ever, but man, talent in a vacuum. There weren't too many small forwards better than him. He could score the rock with the best of them from 3, mid-range, post you up, get to the rack, dunk on you. Most people probably just remember, his time there where he got a chip and went to the finals a couple times, but go check his film out when he was playing with Antoine Walker and them boys. Paul Pierce was an absolute monster. So back to this podcast talk. My bad for the tangent. Garnett's energy and Pierce's laid-back vibe complement each other perfectly, creating a balance of intensity and humor. They discuss everything from mental toughness to the impact of social media on young players today. Their chemistry is undeniable, and their knowledge of the game runs deep. Fans get the raw and real personalities of both players, making it one of the most authentic podcasts to listen to. Number 3, we're coming down to the wire. The Knuckleheads podcast with Quentin Q. Rich and Darius Miles, man. Salute to them. At number 3, we diving into the Knuckleheads. This podcast brings a relaxed barbershop vibe where players and fans feel at ease. Both Richardson and Miles bring a nostalgia factor to the podcast. They were part of a memorable era in the NBA. Even though that Clipper team wasn't really getting to the playoffs, they were definitely exciting to watch with some young cats, and if they would have kept that core together, who knows? Especially with them and LO over there, Lamar Odom. They dig deep into the journeys of their guests, from high school hype to college recruitment and eventual NBA life and NBA play and career. You'll hear stories of perseverance, life challenges, and even the funny moments that come with being an NBA player. Richardson and Miles have a special ability to connect with their guests on a personal level, making for honest and often emotional conversations. Number 2, All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. All the Smoke is a dope one. Known for their honesty and bluntness, Barnes and Jackson dive into real, often untold stories of NBA life. They discuss not only basketball, but also social issues, mental health, and family life, making it more than just a sports podcast. The title All the Smoke is fitting because they don't shy away from any controversy. They confront difficult questions, offer their own experiences, and encourage guests to be open and authentic. Their style is raw, which resonates with fans who appreciate hearing the highs and lows of an athlete's journey. And number 1, last but not least, Gil's Arena with Gilbert Arenas and the crew. The top spot goes to Gilly, hosted by the charismatic Gilbert Arenas and his team. Arenas, known for his big personality, his bold takes, and his deep basketball knowledge, all of which shine in Gil's Arena. He tackles topics that many other analysts avoid, adding humor and unfiltered insight. Gil has a unique ability to break down the game technically while still making it entertaining. His wild stories and unique perspective make him a captivating host. He combines wit, knowledge, and a bit of craziness, making Gil's Arena the most entertaining and informative podcast from former NBA players. And I know he got Kmart on there, Brandon Jennings, and he'll have some other Rashad McCants. And a lot of other guests, man. It's a dope one. That's a dope one. And Gil in his own right he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. It was just cut short because he could hit from long range. He didn't do it as much, but could pull up from long range like Steph and Dame, and was just extremely quick, fast, and explosive with a jumper, mid-range game on point, get to the rack, do it all. Unstoppable player. And it makes sense why he has one of the dopest podcasts. So in conclusion, these podcasts offer fans a chance to understand the NBA from those who have lived it, fought through its challenges, and celebrated its victories. From Teague's humorous storytelling on the 520 podcast to Arena's fearless insights on Gil's Arena, each podcast has something unique. So whether you're a lifelong fan or just getting into basketball, these shows bring you right into the locker room, onto the court, and behind the scenes. So yeah, hop in that comment section, like the video, hopefully. I appreciate it. And yeah, let me know what you think about the order, about the different podcasts. If you think another podcast I'm missing on this list deserves to be up in there, let me know what's up. Thank you again for joining me in exploring the best basketball podcasts out there. Tune in, listen, and get ready for some more unforgettable stories and insights from the players themselves when you check out those podcasts. And don't forget to keep tapping in with your boy Nikki P too on Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops. And with that said, I'm out. Peace.